Hi, this is Chandler Rose. Today I'll guide you through some very helpful stretches for pain relief and stiffness in your body. You don't need any props for this, just a comfortable place like a yoga mat. So let's begin. I like to start any stretching practice with a couple grounding breaths in, just to get us comfortable in our space. So go ahead and take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Coming back to the breath before stretching is a really great way to just get grounded and allow our body to be more at ease, to move into some really helpful stretches. So from this position, I want you to take your feet out in front of you, or if you'd like, you can just do one. Sometimes that's a little more comfortable first thing in the morning. So go ahead and take the other foot close to the thigh, and you can just ground with your hands here. And I just want you to take your attention into your feet and do some nice, easy stretches in the feet here. So you can dorsiflect in, so that's bringing your toes to your nose, and then extend the toes out. And that's plantar flexion, extending your feet to the ground. And at your own pace, just take your feet and roll through your ankles. I like to start stretching with the feet. A lot of times a stiff back can be due to tight legs pulling on the back. Some people, they just go straight to the back. And I've discovered that stretching through the feet can really help alleviate tension in the back. So when that foot feels good and warmed up, you can switch to the other. Again, if you're stretching towards your nose, you're going to dorsiflect in, bring your toes to your nose. You can also add your hand if you can comfortably stretch your toes from that position. If you're not there yet, go ahead and bend your knee. This is more of a beginner stretch, keeps the leg loosened up, and then you have less pressure on the back. So we're gonna dorsiflect in and then plantar flex out, and then rotate the foot through. You may feel a little popping or movement in the ankles, which is also really good for the hips. So go ahead and move through some of that crunchiness and just warm up the ankles. And don't forget to breathe. And then from this position, I'm just going to take you through this leg a little more. And you can either take your hand in front of the foot or on the side of the foot, or you can take your hand out if that's a more comfortable stretch for you. What's important is you want to feel this stretch in the back of the leg, not in the back. So we're loosening up our feet and legs to influence how our back is feeling. So from whatever stretch you feel comfortable, you can go ahead and take your torso down towards the knee. If the knee wants to come up off your mat, that's totally fine. It's actually really healthy for the knee joint. And that will allow you to get your torso more down towards your leg. You can also take this stretch towards the back wall, and just leaning in, you can use your hands to guide you, making sure at each point you just take a breath Keeping your spine nice and long here. And then I'm gonna come to the other side of the leg and stretch a little more this way. And this starts to take the stretch a little more into the low back on the right side. So you may feel it around the back, a little easy spinal twist here. If that's still too much for you, you can take the stretch this way and keep your spine long. Letting the knee be lifted, that will keep the ankle and knee happy if you have very tight hamstrings. And if you're a little more on the flexed side, at any time you can take your body down towards the knee. Breathe. A little shakiness is okay. And then slowly lift up. Bring your feet together. For a moment here, you can just butterfly your knees up and down. This is going to wake up your adductors, the inside of your legs, and also your abductors, the abductors that bring your knees away. And you can just do a little pulsing here to wake up the legs. And just follow along with me as best as you can, but you're welcome to just move into a stretch if that feels comfortable for you. And I'm gonna go to this opposite leg and do what we did, a little rotation around the leg to get this hip loosened up. So if you're here with this leg straight and it feels like too much for you, just go ahead and let your knee bend. And then you can take your opposite hand out towards that leg and stretch in towards the back wall. A little rotation here. You just want to make sure your spine and neck is long, that you're not hunching, that your shoulders aren't pinching up towards the ears. So just allow everything to just be heavy into your mat. And after we stretch a little this way, I'd like to take you back towards the front of the room like we did with the opposite leg. And you can just use your hands to find places of resistance for you. And again, if this feels like too much stretch in the leg, you can always bring the knee up. This will make it more of a hip stretch. You can go ahead and rest your arms on the ground if you have that flexibility. If you don't, that's okay. You can just stay with your fingertips touching and bring as much rotation as you need into this stretch. You can even hover a bit over this leg. Breathing at any point of feeling resistance or crunchiness. If you're just waking up, take your time. And bring your feet back together for a little of that butterfly motion in the knees, opening up the adductors, the muscles that bring your legs together, and opening up the abductors, the muscles on the outside of the knees. And now that we're working our way up the leg, I'd like to do a little quad stretch here. So you can bring your knees to a neutral position for a second. And then go ahead and either sit on your feet, or if you'd like to open your feet up, you're also welcome to sit in a cross-legged position if that's easier. Just want to make sure your feet and knees are in a comfortable position. So any soreness or tension in the knees, just back off and try to find a more neutral position. Good for you. You just want to be really careful with the knee joint. And for me, I like to sit directly on my heels. You're also welcome to let the feet relax here, or you can bring the feet out a little bit if you have this sort of flexibility in the knees. You just want to be able to get into the quads. So for someone that's really tight, you might just even stand all the way up on the knees. So this in itself, this position with the hands tucked back, is a really good neutral stretch for the quads. If you're pretty flexible, you're not really going to feel much here. So you can take your hands down by your feet and get a little pressure into your thumbs and fingertips, and go ahead and push your hips up. And from this position, you can do a little stretch here, a little rotation in the hips. And if you have more flexibility, you're gonna wanna push up more into like a bridge type position. But since this is a morning stretch routine or a stretch for just waking up the body and getting more flexibility, you really want it to be more about the movement and the ease of the stretch and not about going super deep. So from this position, I'm just gonna take my hips up a bit and stretch into the knees. You can also do one at a time, which is a little more neutral and probably easier for someone who has really tight hips. And what you're doing is you're basically bringing that hip corner to the opposite corner of the room. So like a diagonal stretch here. And from this position, I'm gonna take you down to your back, laying on your back. So go ahead and take your feet out. So from this position, you're gonna bring your feet, inch them up towards your hips as far as you can, and it's okay if you can't get super close right now. Just go to your comfort level. And I have my knees close together in this position and my hands are open, sort of gripping into the floor a little bit. I'm just gonna gently bring my hips up. And you can play with the position of your feet. You can bring your feet a little in towards your hips if you want a little deeper stretch. Or you can even bring your feet out a little bit more if you want a stretch that will be more up into the chest cavity and the back. And this is a modified bridge shape. So find your own place of comfort and breathe into that. You're also welcome to move your pelvis around if you need to come out for a few moments and just hover above the floor a couple inches, engaging your abdomen, warming up your hips here. Just noticing how much your pelvic floor and the muscles around your hips support everything that extends from that area. And taking a really good belly breath here just helps integrate some of what we need to strengthen our core to be able to move into some of these deeper stretches. So go ahead and take a deep breath here. Even just noticing a few seconds of rest with your knees in a comfortable position. You can even let your knees fall into each other a little bit if you just want a few moments of just space in the body, noticing. And as you're here, check in with your spine, check in with your shoulders. Are you feeling tight in the neck? Is your chin going up? If your chin is up in this position, go ahead and bring your spine down towards your mat. And if you need a little more assistance bringing that neck down, you can even take your hands here, kind of like a crunch position. And what you're doing is you're pushing your spine into the table or mat where you're laying, or floor if you're laying on a floor. give yourself a little shake in the neck here. Just make sure your shoulders and ears aren't engaged. I notice a lot of times when I'm doing stretches, I'll end up tightening up other areas of the body and not notice. So just make sure your neck has some movement here. So now that we've really warmed up our feet and our legs and some into our hips and pelvic floor, I'm just going to take you back to the front of the body and go ahead and squeeze your knees in. And give yourself a hug here. A great compression for the front of the hips. Also a gentle massage for the hip flexors. And slowly let one leg down towards the floor as you squeeze the other leg in towards the shoulder. Allowing a deeper stretch in the psoas muscles. You can allow the knee to drop out if you want a little deeper stretch here. And if you want even more stretch, go ahead and engage the leg. You don't have to pull it all the way out, but even just with the knee bent and the hand on the foot. And switch to the other leg. So go ahead and take that other knee towards the shoulder. You can let it drop out. If you want a little more stretch here, you're feeling a little more flexible right now, you can go ahead and engage the foot, holding on the inside of the foot and just slowly bringing the leg out. You don't have to extend the knee, but you can if you'd like to. And after about 2 breaths, go ahead and bring that knee in one more time, and then relax the foot down. So from here, after a nice, easy breath, go ahead and plant your feet back into the floor. You can use your abdomen, your core, to help you roll up, and you can also grab into your legs a little bit here. Initiate with your head. And just take a comfortable seated position here. Maybe you're feeling like you can sit up taller than before. Hopefully your spine is feeling more lengthened. So with your chest and rib cage more open now, take a breath here, noticing the energy moving from your root, from your tail, all the way up through your midline, through your chest, noticing a bigger, deeper breath through the intercostals. You can bring your chin up, opening up in the heart, in the throat. You can even take your gaze up a little more if you want to give yourself a little more stretch through the cervicals. So from this position, feel free to stretch into your neck as much as you feel comfortable. You can take one ear down towards the shoulder. Take your gaze up, moving slower through places of tenderness, stopping at places of resistance or crunchiness. Noticing, do you have more tension on your right or left side? Noticing if your shoulder is pulling more on one side than the other. And just taking a few shoulder rolls out, letting that go. And take your hands in towards the chest, and I'm just going to offer one more stretch into the chest cavity, just a simple twist. And you're welcome to take your arms down for a little more twist, a little more support. The best stretch is the one that you come up with that feels the best for you. Maybe you want to take arms up for a moment. Thank you so much for taking this time out for yourself, and come join me again soon. Thank you.
Many of our subscribers don't see our videos. Make sure that you click the notification bell.
Introducing Yoga Plus, offering a free series every month with over 300 different videos. Take control of your health. Work out anytime, anywhere. Yoga Plus. Download now for free.